Since I cannot pronounce her name, um, I gotta figure out how to pronounce her name. I gotta look it up.
Sa
Sorry.
sobrang crispy.
Her last name starts with Lolio.
Juicy and tender? Baka matawag mo itong deluxe. Ayos! Pwedeng-pwede na ngang tawaging deluxe. Ipinakikilala, bagong McDonald's Deluxe Crispy Chicken Sandwich. Para ba ba ba?
Stop saying I'm fine, thanks.
That means God is salvation. This is a name of Spanish origin. How do you go about pronouncing it? In Spanish, it would be said as Josue. Josue. However, in
Josue?
English, it is usually said as Josue.
Oh, Josue. Okay, so Josue Lolio, Josue, Josue story, be reading you, the goat. It's about to go. First of all, the best game of the season is coming upon us, said the commentator. The Golden State Warriors versus the Celtics. Be there at 6 p.m. Est. One of the greatest point guards of all time is DJ. DJ has like an 87% on making any shot or dunk or layup. He's the GOAT, aka the greatest of all time. Heard of that before. The tomorrow is going to be the day DJ and his team are going to win the NBA Golden Trophy. The next following day, in the locker room, the team and the DJ are getting turned up. Coach comes in and says, "Hey, stop messing around and get focused because it's our big day. Welcome, gents and gals, to the best game for the NBA Golden Trophy." They are now walking onto the court. This is where you'll be seeing the Golden State Warriors go up against the Celtics. So the commentator, tip-off has begun. The game is looking pretty good. Throw it far, said DJ. It was about pass and shoot. Wow, first quarter is done and both teams are tied 48-48, said the commentator. Then second quarter, and it's 69-71. The Celtics are winning so far in the game. DJ has got subbed out for one of the worst players on the team. The Golden State Warriors are now catching up that DJ has been out. Curry has the ball, passes, and it's LeBron. Slam dunk. The noise had that. The noise that declares the second quarter had rung the score. The board has it like 85 to 90 or 85 to 80. Halftime and the teams go back into the locker. DJ is upset that as the team because he's carrying the team and no one is putting any work into the game. Also because they were winning and now they're losing. So DJ said, "Come on, team, we can do this together or lose in front of the fans and your family together and forget this ever happened. You guys should just believe in yourselves and be creative out there in the court." At last, on to the third quarter, next thing you know is that the Celtics are now passing, shooting, and making shots. From that speech of the DJ gave to the team that we really did see improvement for them. They also started to catch up and ended up trying to tie in the scoreboard 114 and 114. Finally, the final quarter has started during the fourth quarter. LeBron ran to the ball for DJ. Then LeBron decided to slam DJ's arm to injure him. Also including the other players that try to injure DJ because he's the best of all. But they don't know goats don't fail. It is 132 and 130. This is the last play, and DJ gets the ball with 6 seconds, 5, 4, crossover, step back, shoots a 3-pointer. 3, 2, 1. In splash, dip, and drop, and let's go, said DJ. Victory! The Celtics won, DJ. And his team walked up, and the crowd was saying, DJ, 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 the GOAT. That was a good day. That was a good game victory for DJ and his team, the Celtics. That was a short story, but I'll take that. That was pretty short. Well, not too short, but it's a little short for me. But you could have just made you could have just made it a little long, but that's all right. I'm pretty sure I can make this today. I'm pretty sure. Macero. Why is it not going down? Oh, sometimes it takes a long time. I'll be doing Nyla Palmer's story in the future. I'm gonna be doing Felix Landon Sunset Sours and Senses. So, okay, so Biology 1, Period 3A, Group A, for each item listed below in the Group A, and A indicate with an X in an appropriate box which items can be investigated by science and which items cannot. Do not do Group B items yet. Group B, when your teacher tells you to, indicate with an X in an appropriate box which senses you could use to investigate those items listed below in Group B. Sciences can or can't study. Okay, so Group A items can be or cannot be earthquakes, viruses, angels, cells, flying carpets, stars, mind reading, souls, blue sky, rainbows, heart disease, dinosaur bones, tides, witchcraft, fairies, flowers, beautiful music, love, ghost, unicorns, beautiful sunset, flying saucers, atoms, pregnancy, weather, cancer, magic genies, horoscopes, Santa Claus, and God. Origin in life, origin in species, extant life, murder not seen. Senses which can be used to study, Group B items, hear, see, touch, smell, or taste, can't be detected directly by senses. Earthquakes, viruses, angels, cells, all those words that can be just like I told you. Which of them do you think that cannot study? Or that cannot fit in that diagram? I'll be doing Niall Palmer's story on part 86. I'll be doing Brothers in Arm questions. I really thought Brothers in Arm vocabs, I thought it was invisible, but sometimes it happens to my page. Oh, May 15, 2018. This was almost my 15th birthday. This was the last time we worked on this. So we worked this by Tyler Thompson, Lake Kaisher, Harrison. Yeah, we worked on this together. Brothers in Arm questions, Chapter 1. What did Martin do when Hero got shot? He held him and didn't let go. He also kept telling him to wake up and that he wasn't dead. He finally let go through when the ambulance came. What genre is this book in? It is in the realistic fiction genre, as it hasn't actually happened, but potentially could. Chapter 2. How does Nelson Ramirez influence Martin? He tries to influence him into doing the right thing by trying to have the man talks, acting like a father to him. What is this story starting to be about? It is starting to be about how Martin is trying to get his brother's killer, but his mom is making him move from his home. Chapter 3. What is the story starting to be about? It is starting to be about how Martin wants to go and find Hero's killer and gets revenge. Where does Martin go for a day? Martin goes to his new school, Bowling Ford, for a day. What words could paint the picture in my mind? I could see a I could see a huge sign in blue and yellow letters, home of the Blue Ford Buccaneers. Or Buccaneers, I should say. What tone is the book showing on chapter 4? It's showing a more serious tone. How are Martin and Hero connected? They are blood brothers. Who does Martin meet? Martin meets Eric, a good kid. This was made for my middle school, 8th grade. This was made for my English 8, Mrs. Hollywell. Chapter 5, I had her in first period. What did Martin write about first paragraph? He wrote about how he doesn't have a hero, but how Hero looked at Martin like he was one, but he's gone now. Okay, so Tyler used to be there, and Rebecca Blair. Okay, so Lake, me, Rebecca, Tyler, Dallas, uh, Dominic, Diamond, and Harrison. We did all the work together, so that's a lot of work that we had to do. Where does Martin go to on the bus? He goes to the cemetery where Heroes was buried and visits his grave. He also talks to him about what's going on to his life. Chapter 6. What happens in Mr. Mitchell's class? Martin, Vicky, and Teresa shared their paragraphs. What happens in the gym? Steve blocks Martin's shot when not even in a basketball game, so Martin runs down the court at Steve and blocks his shot. Chapter 7. What happens in a locker room after gym? Martin uppercuts Steve after Steve punched him in the gym. What happens after the fight? Martin and Steve both go to principal's office. They were sent to the principal's office of what they've done. What does Martin go home to? A very angry Muffer who's very disappointed but just won't listen to him. Chapter 8. What does Martin nightmare about? What does he nightmare about? He has a nightmare about Hero's death and what actually happened at the scene. What happens in detention? What happens in detention? Martin and Mr. Mitchell get into a little bit of a fight, but Mr. Mitchell talks about how he sees good in Martin, but he doesn't agree. Chapter 9. What happens with Martin and Vicky? Martin and Vicky go on a walk all afternoon. What happens at school? Martin goes into detention in Mr. Mitchell's class and almost punches him. What happens in the next few days after the walk? Martin goes to the church and Mr. Mitchell talks to him about his paper and his story. Chapter 10, last one. What does Martin do at 9 a.m.? He meets up with Frankie and the gang to kill his brother's killer. Why does Martin drop out of the group? He drops out because he realizes he is just working for Frankie and he also doesn't want to have any blood on his hands or family. Never. He also remembers what Hero said on one time and makes a big impact on his decision. What happens in the end? Martin talks about his backstory and what would happen and who is going with him and help him. Because he usually gets lonely with this kind of stuff. WW1 World War One Notes Part 1. Okay, so words to know: militarism, nationalism, alliances, neutrality, or blockade. What started World War One? List the countries of the two opposing sides at the start of the war. Allied powers or Central powers? What event sparked the chain of the events that led to the start of World War One? Why were so many countries of Europe pulled into war all at one time? One word. The US before getting involved in the WWI, who was the POTUS during this time. Who did the US tend to side with before getting involved in World War One? Circle one, is it Allied powers or Central? What did the US try to practice during the early years of World War One? Use one of your vocab words. How did the US help in the war effort in Europe before we sent troops? How did Germany feel about the US doing this? What do they want to do about it? Did President Wilson try to negotiate for peace? Is it yes or no? Did it work? Yes or no? What got the US to send troops? Event 1 or Event 2? How are people chosen to go fight in Europe? The home front stations, select service or selective service, what is conscription? How are people chosen for military service but by the selective service system? Minorities in the military. Why are women finally allowed to be involved in the military in the World War One? How was discrimination invented in the U.S. military during World War One? Mobilizing in the industry. Why did the government feel the need to take control over industries during this war? What were victory gardens and what was their purpose? Paying for the war. Other than increasing taxes, how else did the government fund the war? How do war bonds work? Mobilizing the workforce. Why did the government begin to push for better conditions and benefits for workers during this war? How did wartime job affect women and African Americans? Building support publics. What was the purpose of 4-minute speeches or 4-minute speeches and other forms of propaganda during this war? Limiting free speech. When the government passed the Espionage Act of 1917, what did it make illegal? What was the purpose of the Sedition of Act of 1918? Which course cause upheld the Sedition Act? Weapons and technology of World War One. Write down 3 or 4 facts for each weapon. Machine gun, airplanes, artillery, poison gas, submarines, and tanks. Groups opposed to the war. Who opposed the U.S. fighting the World War One? What happened to those that refused to fight? What are the civil liberties? How did Americans feel about German Americans during World War One? The end of the Great War. When did the fighting end? Month, day, or year? Date of year. What was signed or date of that happened? What this was also known as the armistice. 2 months later, leaders gathered in blank to negotiate peace. List the countries that were represented therefore. What was the name of Wilson's plan for peace called? What was the plan? Was the plan used? Circle one or yes or no. What did Germany agree to? What was the name of the official peace treaty? Did the signing of treaty end the fighting? Yes or no. What did the treaty create? What was the League of Nations? Did the U.S. make peace with members of the Central Powers? Did Germany accept the terms of the treaty in Versailles? Did they have a choice? How did the Treaty of Versailles rearrange the geography of Europe? Name the new country created during the World War One. Who became the leader of this new country? What type of government did they leave? Did they have? Who emerged as a leading global power after World War One? Why? What was Dow's plan? What did it take so? My voice feels so funny right now, guys. I would show my camera right now, but I don't think so. Maybe it's because I'm tired of doing this. I had to get them done as soon as I can. But this will take me a whole month or so. Sometimes it takes a while um, to fix something out. I'll be doing the Quinn Simpson March 25th on Wednesday. My cooking teacher, Miss Fisher, named Quinn Simpson, Chapter 50 of Vocabulary. Directions. Utilize your online textbook via its learning to define the terms listed in the left-hand column. Include the image example to help you visualize the term. The textbook is in the GW resources. I don't know why it's suggesting my mode. You have to have a term, definition, or image example. Nutrition part or part 773. You can use any page. Nutrition part 773. The use of many calories like the column of foods need to be used by a number size. Nutrients. The use of many calories like the column of foods needed a number size. Essential nutrients. The name many sort of eyes when cooking on the heat. Calories. How much you normally eat or something or you drink was not or to be used. Protein. Producing chicken, turkey, or meat or any animal product. Complete protein has to be built by a cookie when using protein. Incomplete protein, not protein is no good, or any consideration of many foods you don't know about. Carbohydrates, whenever it comes into your body, it stays there. Lipids, the use of a health choice of whatever it needs. Saturated fats, specifically fats are not to be used as not eating much, as the protein. Unsaturated fats are like an unhealthy choice or not the case that if it works or not. Trans fat. Eating so much would force to lose weight if you needed to. Cholesterol. Not as bad as defining glucose into the body how many it can find. Probiotics. It is the same as the dictionary of many sort of just as bacteria. Prebiotics. Germs are not provided. Germs are provided, not even involved in diet without germs. Without germs are not provided. Nutrient-dense foods. Some propose many diet of dense foods and bacteria found it into your body. Just like when you're eating something that is not right. I will be doing April 9th. Good Eats and Sandwiches. Part 1. List 5 facts or something you didn't know before about sandwiches from the video. The grill to the heat makes sense. Can be as many heats or meats you can put. Health and diet makes up to a sandwich. Sandwich has bread and more files. Definition for the order meal preparing. Part 2. Create a blueprint of the layout, order, or the ingredients for the 2 sandwiches made. Example, BLT. Toasted sourdough or bread. Mayonnaise, crispy bacon, romaine lettuce leaves, thinly sliced tomato, mayonnaise, toasted sourdough bread. Sub-sandwich, pan bagnat, mayonnaise, crispy bacon, romaine lettuce leaves, toasted sourdough bread. Cubon panini, toasted sourdough bread, thinly sliced tomato, and mayonnaise. Directions. Part 3. Compare and contrast these 2 sandwiches. Sub-sandwich, both, or Cuban sandwich. You can do this things that you want to. I probably didn't share that much to Miss Fisher because I had a lot of work going on. It took me like all night to do this because I had to do all that extra credit for Miss Fisher. So I gotta be honest with you. but I don't pay attention on online school because online school is a challenge for me. I didn't like that much. April 8th. Image of your plated meal. Chicken Alfredo recipe. I spelled recipe wrong, but describe how the meal dresses. The good smell of the side needs. Flavor, protein and veggies. Color, brown and yellow. Texture, quick. Temperature, 150. Shapes and sizes. Matter of size. Would you make any changes to the meal? Yes. Explain why or why not. It's either the situation that matters for many foods in the group. I guess I wasn't being specific enough about Miss Fisher that much because I don't have that much definition in my words because I can't define any word that I have to put in my parentheses, or I can't put it into my own words because I can't really think any of them because I have so much work going on my YouTube career because I don't want to drop out, but I kind of want to. But I just want to stay in school for a while. My mom will not let me. That's okay. That's fine. I'll deal with it. May 14th. Mental and Social Wellness Study Guide. Why are physical needs the first bottom level of Maslow's hierarchy of human needs? Because what arise due to deprivation? True or false? The need to express love and acceptance for others is a true component of self-actualization. True. Explanation of why meeting is the need for self-actualization is a lifelong process. Because self-actualization needs desire, growth, and peak experiences. What are the three aspects that are indicators of mental health? The disorders of mood, behavior, and thinking. Why is learning to control your emotions important? To show expressing how you feel, like an example. Miserable, you have to let it go. True or false? You are likely to form a positive self-concept when others are acknowledged owning your strengths. True. Social health is measured by the blank of your relationships. Index. What are the four traits that help people with good social health relate to others? Relationships, keep strong, healthy, and respect. Explain why developing effective communication skills is important in your social health. To make better chats for the group you enjoy for many services. List 5 tips for resolving conflict. Avoiding, compromising, collaborating, competing, or accommodating. Anyone who likes that rock band is an idiot. That music stinks is an example of a blank statement. Rude or disobey. Why should a person prioritize needs improvement behaviors when preparing a self-management plan? Because it helps to control when you have or many ahead of stuff in life. What could you tell a friend who refuses to seek treatment because he is embarrassed to admit he has a mental health issue? He could tell the truth or some details for a friend who knows things like that. If they have like a mental health issue, you can always tell your teacher about that. Because we people are because people are actually really aware of what you actually look like. Because your teachers are probably aware of what your mental services. People, yeah, your teachers are pretty aware about your mental health services. They really need to know about your services uh, that you're doing. So let's talk about April 1st, which is April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day. Sorry. The Culinary Professional Study Guide. Chapter 50. Nutrition. Dietary Guidelines. Activity C. Answer the following. Use the chapter in your PowerPoint slides to attach the help. Similar to two overarching the principles around which the dietary guidelines for Americans provide advice. They shall use another idea to produce it. What are the nutrient-dense foods? Food that is high when it serves the justice of how matters the things. My plate divides commonly eaten foods into what five food groups? Veggies, fruits, dairy, protein, and grains. Why should most of your fruit choices be the whole or cut up or fruit than ever juice? It might lead clueless if needed for healthy situation if everyone needs. What amount of grains eaten should be the whole grain, cereal, or bread? Into what subgroups is the vegetables group, or further divided? Give an example of each. Twice only if it looks of veggies looks neutral, then the system becomes further notice. What nutrients do the foods in the dairy group provide, especially improved health? What recommendation does my plate make about my choosing protein foods? To choose whenever you have like a protein does not make any decisions. Like some proteins may not use conditions about some things. What factors influence the amount of a food a person should eat or to meet energy needs? They're probably maybe like trying harder on the amount. If energy needs to increase, how do food amounts to change? Whatever information do the dietary guidelines suggest? They suggest diet loss or many beats until it starts. I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, but if you guys agree with me on this or disagree, that's okay too, because I was being a complete badass on, e-learning thing. I wasn't really enjoying it, so yeah, yeah. If you'll excuse me, I gotta work on my airspace science teacher. But if you guys have any questions, let me know, or you can ask your teacher about it. I'm almost to that answer key that I'll be giving you guys. So yeah, Nyla Palmer's story will be coming on part 86. So be prepared on that. Um, where are you, Nyla? Period 8. Okay, so I'm gonna read it for her. Okay, so this is from The Lost Dog that she has. Bro, is a lost dog on the loose. So